Okay, so we'll start with a few moments of meditation together. So you can find your meditation position. And we can key in to the feeling of support from our fellow practitioners who are here together in the present moment. We can feel supported and invited to really be here now in the present. I'm going to now start our talk for this morning from my teacher, Sayadaw Ottamathara. And this talk is a part of a Q&A that he gave. And I will invite us to listen deeply, listen in a meditative way. And also, if there is any question that comes up as we are listening to this talk, you can feel invited to stop and take a look at it and ask a question or connect about it and see if there's some extra information that I can share. And please be ready and willing and able to ask questions, because if we don't understand something, but we don't ask a question about it, then we're really missing out on an opportunity to know. And we shouldn't cheat ourselves like that. Okay.
Start of March 2011. Start of March 2011. I want to share with you about created truth and original truth. All of us are just created truth. All living things and non-living things are just created truth. Our mind, our body, and whatever actions concerned with our mind and body are also just created truth. All created truths are to use only, not to think as real. We are traditionally using our life in the wrong way, because we are using our life with the idea of life is real, death is real. In fact, mind and body is just to use only, must not think as reality. Everything is just temporary, not forever. Everyone is also just temporary, not forever. Using life with the idea of reality is wrong. We are traditionally using life in the wrong way. There are endless problems in life because we are using life in the wrong way. We are using life with misunderstanding. Using life without misunderstanding is right. Using life in the traditional way is wrong. In fact, life is to use only, must not think as reality. It is necessary for everyone to have the quality to lose our traditional misunderstanding. What I am saying is the original truth about our life, not the created truth. Male and female, young and old, life and death, men and animals, all are just created truth. The original truth concerned with created truth is just to use only, just to experience only, not to think as reality. Young and old, sick and healthy, life and death, all opposite situations are just to experience only, without thinking as reality. Each of us are using various life in human society. All life are just to use only, including life of yogi, meditator. All experience of yogi life are also to experience only, without misunderstanding as reality. Whatever good or bad experience are to experience only, must not think as reality. The original truth concerned with our life is we are traditionally using life in the wrong way. The real meditation is to correct the original mistake. We need to correct our understanding about our life. Appearance of something and disappearance of something is also to experience only, must not think as reality. Whatever action, good or bad, are also to do and to experience only, must not think as reality. Doing good deed is right, but thinking good deed as reality is wrong. Just be good, but must not think good man and bad man as reality. Knowing hot and cold, good and bad, life and death is right, but thinking that knowing as reality is wrong. We are naturally using our mind and body in the wrong way. The nature of mind and body is just to use only, just to experience only, not to think as reality. Whatever knowing, good or bad, are also just to know only, must not think as reality. Whatever action, good or bad, are also just to do and just to experience only, must not think as reality. Whatever teaching are just to listen and just to speak only, must not think as reality. Using mind and body, time and place with the idea of reality is wrong. Using only, experiencing only, knowing only is right. We are using our mind and body in daily life. All our using are using in the wrong way. If we practice meditation, we are traditionally practicing with the idea of reality. In fact, all actions are just to do only and just to experience only, not to think as reality. That's why we need to change our understanding, not our action, not our life. Because our traditional understanding about life is wrong. No need to say about mind and body, time and place. because mind and body, time and place are to use only, not to think as reality. Now I am using mind and body, time and place in the right way, just using only, without paying attention. Whatever happening to our mind and body is not important. What time and what place is not important. Just to use only, must not pay attention. Whatever situation, good or bad, are just to face only, just to experience only, not to think as reality. Buddha's desire is to correct our understanding. Doing or not doing is not important. Eating or not eating is not important. Sleeping or not sleeping is not important. Life and death is also not important. Because just to use only. The truth about our life is just to use only, just to experience only, just to know only. Whatever cause are to do and to experience only, not to think as reality. Whatever effect, good or bad, are just to experience only, not to think as reality. Whatever knowing, good or bad, are just to know only, not to think as reality. Just use life without thinking as reality. Instead of using traditional wrong understanding, we need to use right understanding. What I am saying is right understanding about life, about created truth. If there is no right understanding, whatever good or bad seem to think as reality. Life and death, time and place seem reality because of wrong understanding. Male and female, parents and children, teachers and followers all seem as reality because of wrong understanding. I'm not saying about life. I'm just using life. I'm not saying about time and place. I'm just using time and place in the right way. Using only is right. Using with the idea of reality is wrong. Only when you can correct your misunderstanding, you can understand about me and my teaching, about Buddha and his teaching very well. My teaching comes from practice, not from theory, not from thinking, not from reading. That's why only by practice you all can understand my teaching. Trying to use right understanding about created truth instead of using traditional understanding. Just pay attention to the right understanding, not to pay attention to our mind and to our body. Our attention should be only to the right understanding. What we are doing is not important. Who we are is not important. Whatever happened to us is also not important. Just to experience only. Be courage to lose traditional wrong understanding. Not only knowing about created truth, but also knowing about original truth is also important. The original truth is beyond life, beyond mind, beyond time and place. We cannot directly understand about the original truth and original wisdom. What we can directly understand is only created truth and created wisdom. We can indirectly understand about original truth with the help of Buddha and his follower. The original truth is impermanent nature and permanent nature. Original truth is forever. Original truth is beyond time and place. The original truth is beyond created truth. You cannot directly understand about the original truth. You can understand to me and to my teaching. In this way, you can indirectly understand about the original truth, which is impermanent nature and permanent nature. Impermanent nature has the power of creation. That power is forever. That power can create unreality as reality. Another power of permanent nature is original or original wisdom concerned with original truth. Our attention should be only to the permanent nature and original power of creation and original understanding of impermanent nature. Because of attachments, it's difficult to change our attention, original. I used to be attention only to the. I used to think of our mind and body. Because of that habit, attention, permanent nature, and original created power and original wisdom of permanent nature. Original truth is on our mind. Rationally, cannot understand on our mind. Meditation method on the quality of our mind. In this way, the quality of our mind will that mind is only not to be attention and not to think as healthy. As impermanent nature, as the power of creation and reality as reality, as the original understanding about original truth. More and more practice necessary. Attention to original truth. Original truth is on our mind. That's why if we are not on our mind, we cannot understand original truth. By using our mind wrong way, idea of as reality. To use mind right way is necessary. Original truth. This is constant, permanent nature, permanent energy, permanent power. This is beyond something, beyond time and that's why our mind cannot directly understand the original truth. The ability or quality go on our mind is necessary to understand about the original truth. What I am saying is not about something, not about someone. That's about original. I'm using my mind and body right way because of that quality, right way, and can successfully display about the original. Original truth is not something, not someone. That's why very difficult to explain us. Trying to a mind, trying to a life. Only when our mind is can have connection, can have direct connection, original truth. Our mind is not free, can connect only with I'm using mind right way. I'm using mind free. I'm using life, not only my life, but also all living. All life are just to use only, just to experience only, not to think as reality. Reality is permanent nature and permanent nature. Permanent nature has the original power of creation, and reality is reality. Another power of permanent nature is original knowing or understanding about the original. That's presence only. That's not think as reality. That's not think time and place as reality. That's not think nature and follower as reality. All life are just only, not to think as reality. Permanent nature and permanent are beyond our understanding. Why? Help of Buddha. Understand about the direct understanding. The more indirect understanding will make a direct understanding about the original. Because original is difficult to understand. Naturally, understand something original. Someone is only when practice our mind quality. That qualifying mind have connection, original. Our traditional mind is always busy with something or every someone or everyone, time and by paying attention everything one, by paying attention to time and quality of our mind will be. That's why it is important to understand original truth about original concern with truth and original. Trying to be the mind. Our mind is not free. Our mind cannot have direct connection with original wisdom. Our mind is always busy with truth. That's why our mind has no connection original truth. Change the habit of our mind. Change our attention from created truth to original truth is unstable. Original truth is stable. More and more attention, the original will make our mind more and more stable and more powerful. Our mind is and powerful. All our desire will be mind and powerful mind. Our mind is powerful on our body, on ourselves, without us, because our mind is not free, not enough powerful. We have to pay attention, change our attention from creative original. Our mind will become more and more perfect. Our life will also be perfect. My teaching is over now. Let's share our merit for living. For our merit, all we have done now, our departed cause and the all being rise and are in our merit. See our
Yeah, please feel welcome and invited to share your experience or to ask any question that you might have about this teaching.
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Um, how can questioning the nature of personal reality lessen suffering?
You want to add a little bit more to that? Clarify that a little bit more?
In the video, I was hearing talk of how reality and sometimes the perception of reality as the truth can be harmful. And I think that he was encouraging us to question the nature of our personal perception, which is what we see it to be reality. And I'm wondering, since I'm pretty new to this ideology, how that can use maybe an example of how that can lessen suffering.
Sure. So this is to detach. So this is to detach and to abandon our biases and looking from the framework of a character in a story. Now, when you dismantle that character or that way of approaching and that way of relating to every present moment experience, things open up a lot more. There's a flexibility, there's an openness for the created truth, surely, and how you want to experience that. But also, there's more and more openness for you to empower your mind by connecting with the original truth, the truth of ever new impermanent nature. Okay, the impermanence. So, the created truth, and from this perspective of a person, okay, our personhood at a particular place in a particular time, we cannot grasp or understand impermanence or that original truth because it is beyond a person or a place or a time. It is impermanence itself. It's ever new impermanent nature itself, which is constantly unfolding, or kind of arising and revealing itself. So we can't grasp it from that position of a particular person at a particular place at a particular time. But as we practice to detach, as we practice to renounce our kind of constant vote for the affiliation with this person at this place at this time in this creation, right? This story, we are more and more apt, more and more capable of getting the power from the original truth, getting the power from the impermanent nature. But as we, just to start with it, it's the flexibility, it's the openness to put down that narrative and that way of dealing with things and solving things. So maybe anything, everything in our life is usually directing us towards a way of dealing with this real true person and a real true story. Whereas here, Sayadaw, the teacher, is encouraging us to detach from that person, that place, that time. And that's quite an experience to put that down, to be willing to put that down. And where you go from there is up to you. But it's very practical, it's very human, right? It's in the dust, it's in the mud of life. Where do you go from here? It's very human, it's very relational, right? You have a teacher, do you have a spiritual friend? What are you going to eat? Where are you going to go, etc.? What are you going to do? Whereas in this created truth, everything is about this real true person and a real true story, this place, that time, and it's just this constant, never-ending narrative of creation, attachment to a story. And so nothing, in that case, nothing is practical. Anything that's practical seems secondary. But when we put down all of the created truths, there's a very present moment, experiential experience that is open and flexible and free. Free of this person at this place at this time. So, Ellie,
Yes.
what do you
Yes.
think? You understand?
Yes, I do. I think I'll have to think about it a little bit, but I think I do.
Good. So we can open ourselves up to this practice of detachment and generosity rather than attachment and greed. And this is the power of ever new impermanent nature. This is the power of impermanence that we We can do that. Although it's not really about doing it or not doing it. It's kind of to drop the importance that we give about doing or not doing. It's very revolutionary. And it has at its core to halt, to stop. To detach, to put down. Okay, so you put down this person at this place, at this time, and what do you have? And so in this form of practice, it's not necessarily so much about focusing or getting some experience, but more it's to put down, to allow to fall away. And this natural quality of the original truth can become more and more accessible and clear, relatable to. And that created truth can have less and less force, less and less power. Not by doing or not doing, but just according to its nature. If we can step back from our involvement with this person, at this place, at this time. It's almost a quality of that this is not allowable, right? That we're not, it's not really realistic or authentic to take this position. In most places it wouldn't be, okay? But in the Buddhist community, in the Sangha, with the monks and the nuns, this is the bread and butter. This is what makes a monk, is that life of renunciation. So we are renouncing the life built on created truth. Right? Because when we have bills to pay, and when we are trying to become more materially wealthy, right, we have to be this person at this place at this time, right? It's almost mandatory. So in that case, we only know about using the power of the created truth. But we can step back from that. And we can be free from this right away. You know, it's instantaneous. You don't have to do so much legwork to understand it. And Ellie, I feel like you've got a clear insight right off the bat. So great job that you could understand it so clearly. To step back from that created truth, even if it's just for a moment, and to empower yourself, or to empower freedom. Abhi, you want to share something? Oh, okay. Anyone over on YouTube have a question? You can type it down or to share your understanding. We are uh, fixated. Yeah, Abhi, are you there?
Yeah. I just wanted to share some, at least my experience with it during the sit, of just the created truth. You know, or at least the relationship with it and how it interacted with the created truth. But anyway, you know, when I sat down, I had there's a, let's say like a ball of, or more like a slab of lava in my neck or something. It was solid and glowing, hot and painful. It's just strange because I'd sat in the exact same place, the exact same posture about 30 minutes prior. But anyway, it was there then when I sat down. And then as I listened to the talk, I didn't pay much attention to it. But afterwards, now now it's more of a wisp and a cloud. And so there's just that, at least for me, there's obviously that natural reaction of relaxation that comes with, not, when I was sitting down and actually, quote unquote, trying to meditate and paying attention to it, it was still a ball. But when I stopped grasping it, it's more comfortable, much more comfortable, almost gone. And so, yeah, that just with the creative truth unfolding, just the relaxation, which is just, it's also conditioned, but it's still nice. Yeah, thank you. Sure.
Well, it's the power of detachment that it's the original truth power is always so much more vital and alive and transformative than this power of our attachment or our created truth. Okay, so our created truth is I hope my car starts because it's a new one and I bought it last week. It better start, and if it doesn't, I'll get a warranty on it. Okay, that's the power of the created truth. It's a new car, so it should start. The power of the original truth, or the truth of ever new impermanent nature, is the dissolution of your body. Okay, the dissolving of your body. So if we can make use of that detachment power, okay, or that power of ever new impermanent nature, then it's not really important if there's a pain or there's not a pain, if we sleep or if we don't sleep, or if it's this time or it's another time, or if it's this person or it's that person. It's not really important. And we can connect with that power inside of ourselves. We can develop a relationship with that power through detachment and generosity, and to endure, right? To endure those experiences and not be carried away by them. And for most of us, that means, eating some pain, eating some difficulty, because we have a lot of privileged conditions where we can sleep when we want. Basically, we can eat what we want. The temperature is very sweet all the time. If we have a pain, we go get a medicine for it, etc. But when we sit and when we feel difficulty, when we feel that pain, when we feel that things are not exactly the way that we want them to go, we can endure, we can be with that, with this quality of detachment, right? This quality of present moment awareness, where it doesn't matter if there's some pain in the knee or in the shoulder, or if I feel tired, or if I feel awake, or if I feel it's a good meditation or bad meditation. It doesn't matter. What matters is a freedom. And we don't find freedom through clinging or through grasping, even to those things that we think are exactly what we want, but we find freedom through detachment, mindfulness and detachment. Generosity, mindfulness, detachment, to do only, to experience only, to feel only, to breathe only, to see only, to use only. That means that there's no secondary aspect to it. There's no created truth that we're relying on to do only, to take a shower only, to go for a walk only, to wake up only, to go to sleep only. Not about a particular place or a particular time, right? That's a real freedom. Not about a particular person. And we exercise that when we use only, when we do only, when we experience only. And over time, if we make that a priority, we develop our affinity towards the original truth. We develop an affinity towards the power of ever new impermanent nature, so that our minds become more free and also more powerful. The power of my car better start because it's a 2023 is nothing compared to the power of detachment, impermanence. Doesn't even compare.
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, when you just said detachment, I'm wondering because, specifically because you used the example of the car, and I'm curious to know what if one detaches during, let's say, driving a car from maybe even, I don't know really what you mean by detachment when you bring up the car example. So I'm wondering, like, this could be a similar thing to impaired driving to me in my current understanding, that maybe if you choose to detach, you might cause suffering in the wrong context.
This is detachment according to the truth, according to reality. Okay, this is talking about the latest Avatar movie with the King of Death. You can do it. You can explore it, but you're still exploring in terms of the created truth. You're still emboldening your relationship with the created truth. Okay? And the reality is impermanence. Right? The reality is that it doesn't matter if it's a car crash or if it's a particular place or a particular time when it happens, that birth and death are free of a particular place or a particular time. Okay, your present moment experiencing according to the original truth, which is what we are not so familiar with and which is what we're here to exercise our relationship with, is free of any created truth. It is free of a scenario. It is free of a particular person at a particular place in a particular time. Just in the same way that, I wish this analogy could be more subtle, but, a meteor hitting Earth right now, it is free. It's using the power, a giant meteor hitting Earth right now, which is completely 100% possible, is using the power of original nature, okay, ever new impermanent nature. And so it's going to go into Earth, it's going to destroy, everything's going to dissolve immediately, right, upon impact, full dissolution of everything, everyone, etc., however the impact is, okay? And it's going to do that freely because it's according to the power of ever new impermanent nature. And so really, just like that, a giant meteor, okay, that dissolves everything, just finish, right? And you hold up the created truth. You hold up the view or the position of some person at some place at some time. What is the result? Even 1,000, even 10, we can barely get 5 people together to do something together, to walk together in a position of power and sincerity and depth, right? But let's say you get 1,000, 10,000 people together holding up their created truth, right? Their real true person and a real true story dialogue, their scenarios, their positions that they have, okay? What's going to happen? It's going to go right through, no problem, right? Smoothly, it's going to go right through. So we should not get stuck in these scenarios and to have a really clear understanding that these teachings and these principles are coming from a place of wisdom, not a place of ignorance. Okay, the ignorance is attachment to the created truth as being permanent, when it is by nature impermanent. It's actually by the power of, I think Sayadaw was saying in this talk, that it's actually one of the powers or the functions of this ever new impermanent nature that the created truth is able to arise. Right? Because the created truth also is relying upon impermanence. Something comes into being, it already has within it the seed of its ending, right? And by very nature of it coming into being, it's relying on this impermanence, this quality of not being permanent. We can make a million scenarios, but you should do those scenarios from a place of freedom and for your I would say for your benefit and for your enjoyment. But intellectual meandering, okay, is always going to be irrelevant. when it comes down to the truth. Completely irrelevant. Right? So our mind should be in such a way to be free, to be open, not to be constrained by the past, the future, what could happen, what couldn't happen, this make-believe delusion that we create for ourselves. There's nothing inherently negative or positive about it. It's these thoughts, these experiences, these aspects of our reality are to be used only and to be experienced only from a place of freedom and from a place of wisdom and from a place of goodness.
I have a little tiny question on top of that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Is change impermanent?
Right. This is the permanence of the original truth. This is the impermanence is permanent. Yeah. But even that is, we should try to, if you know how to use the power of driving a car, then you don't need to emphasize increasing that power. You already know how to use the power of driving a car. Many times you won't be driving a car. So you should use the power, you should know about using the power of not driving a car, of walking. Okay? As a young person, you're going to know a lot, or most young people, a lot of young people are going to know about the power of having a full stomach. Okay? We should know about the power of not having a full stomach. Okay? The same with being in pain, right? Physical pain. We know about the power of pleasure, certainly. We know about the power of not particularly being in pain. We should know about how to use the power of being in pain, going through difficulty. And so, in this, especially in this case, we should know about using the power of detachment rather than attachment. Okay? Not necessarily because one is better or worse than the other, but because we're trained on attachment, right? Especially a modern Western person, we are trained in greed, right? Modern society is greed based. We are the more you can fulfill your greed, the more successful of a human being that you are, right? That you can have not just one car, not just two cars, but 10, 20, 30, not just one house, but 10, onward into infinitum. So it's this power of detachment that is not ignorant, but to be aware and willing to let go. Aware and uninvolved. Even uninvolved with that awareness. And this is a kind of, we're developing a relationship with these different powers that are there. And especially developing a relationship with the notion of truth, right? The notion of impermanence, the notion of freedom, which for many of us, we may never have really had a relationship with that or considered that particularly deeply in our lives up to this point. And we can't all become enlightened, but we can have active relationship with detachment. We can have an active relationship with generosity, with the meditation community, with monks and nuns, with renunciation. We can have a relationship with doing good deeds. And we see what happens. Over time, we may have a direct experience of the original truth. We may have a direct experience of how fundamental impermanence is to every aspect of our experience. The notion of wisdom, the notion of insight, not just, well, I have this amount of money, how do I double it? Okay, I want this, how do I get it? But an insight, a deep understanding, a deep capacity to face, to be with what's here right now and to understand, to be free.
A question about that as well.
Okay.
When you said that when you were talking about the experience of reality and the possibility to experience, I think you referred to it something along the lines of the true reality, and you've been referring to it as that instead of the more personal, what I now understand to be the created reality. And I never considered this to be possible, and I would like you to expand a little bit upon that comment of unexperience with something more similar to an enhanced or true perspective.
Yeah, you detach, abandon this person at this place at this time. Breathe only, see only, hear only. You don't get strong by thinking about going to the gym. And here we are talking about something that's a lot more direct and rich and alive. You're talking about the truth, so it's not a matter if you go to the gym or not. The truth is the truth, impermanence is impermanence. But we can go from saying so what to realizing, developing a relationship with the reality of impermanence moment by moment. The reality of this changing quality that is completely free, is not in any way limited by this person at this place at this time. But is seeing only, breathing only, experiencing only, speaking only. And over time, if you prioritize a relationship with this and you go in the direction of this, then you will have a more rich and meaningful experience with it, for sure. But an issue for the West, for Western people, is this is so obscure, this is so strange and kind of new age. Whereas, in Buddhist countries and Buddhist societies and maybe other places, Dharmic societies, okay, wisdom is something you can develop if you choose to go in that direction. And that's a practical of, you show up to these group meditation sessions, you find out the name of the teacher that we listened today, you find out about other teachers, wisdom teachers, right? People who embody these teachings. And you develop through that experience, through showing up. But also you need to understand that what I'm pointing to here is the same truth of the impermanence of your body. This is the power that we're talking about here. So, naturally it's a little bit heavy, right? And it's powerful. It's way more powerful than our, our narrative and our likes and dislikes and our desires and our fears and all this jazz, right? It's the power that is the nature, the true nature of impermanence, ever new impermanent nature. But to be mindful, right? To breathe and just be aware. You can take a shower in the dark and just breathe and feel the water. Be aware of your body in the present moment. You can be aware of a feeling in the body, and you can have a willingness to not react to that, and to embrace it and to face it and to feel it without judgment or without control. And certainly you can listen to talks like we listened to today. That's also going to inform and inspire and empower you to be more involved in this relationship. But this power of impermanence is not waiting for you to get involved with it. Just like your body is not waiting for the conditions to come together to be vulnerable. It's already vulnerable. It's already impermanent. The truth is already the truth. Seeing is already seeing. Hearing is already hearing. Breathing is already breathing. You just need to get out of the way. It's not to grasp. It's to give away. It's to detach. It's not to pick up. It's to recognize that you've already picked something up. You've already got something in your hands and you're kind of grasping on it, and to put it down. When you put everything down and you can just sit and just breathe and just be aware, then you can just be free. Go ahead, Andre.
So, isn't impermanence, okay, this is what the thought that came to my mind, isn't impermanence also created by the mind, like the experience of impermanence, like what makes the experience of impermanence the truth rather than another facet
It's not.
of mental experience?
It's not the truth. You can't grasp it. You can't experience it in that way. This is just your perception. This is just your, what you're describing is just a created truth.
Why isn't what you're describing a created truth?
Oh, it is. This is pointing to a true nature.
See, I understand that if you remove like the linguistic experience, then you can enter a state where things seem very clear and very true. I'm just not not quite sure that it's that something feeling true really means it's true, and something feeling like the ultimate experience really means anything beyond the fact that I basically generated a trip in my mind by doing meditation instead of taking mescaline. I don't want to sound too negative. I've meditated many years. I mean, I take this very seriously.
The moment that you generate any view, that is wrong. That is not correct. The moment that you are dragging any experience around with you, that is not correct. That is not the truth. Okay, that is grasping. Yes. That is the opposite of what what is being encouraged here. It doesn't matter if it's the highest, holiest experience or if it's the lowest, most base, negative experience. If you're dragging it around with you, then you can be sure that that is not the truth. So it is to detach, it is to abandon, it is to put down.
But it seems to me that what you're describing, and I think I've experienced that too in my 12 years of meditation practice, is an experience, and you can go deep enough into it to really believe it fully, but what does it mean?
Well, your body doesn't really care about what you believe or what you don't believe. And it's to step back from you. Right, this is the insight aspect of it. So you can have all the samadhi that you want. You can have all the deep special experiences that you want. But to be free from a self-fixated view is the insight. To abandon someone. Right, to abandon someone. And this puts it into a different modality, a different approach. When it's not about someone at some place, at some time. And this is to detach. When things are going very well and very convenient, when we are living the life of a business person or a normal person, we are locked into a world of created truth. And you either subscribe or you get out of the way. Meaning that you don't have what you need and your life kind of falls apart. But to be a yogi is to live, or a monastic to ordain, is to live through the power of detachment rather than through the power of grasping. And that is the practice itself. Abi, I'm sorry to go on. You've been raising your hand, or are you doing a spiritual thing there?
I just, since we were talking about impermanence, I just wanted to share an analogy by Ajahn Brahm about impermanence that I like very much, and that you sort of alluded to when you said, whether you like it or not, the body will disappear. And it's Ajahn Brahm says in this one place that there's the understanding of impermanence. That is, you look at the ocean and you see the waves and they rise and they fall, and you can see them rise and you can see them fall, and that's sort of an analogy for a kind of understanding of impermanence. But he calls that a superficial understanding of impermanence. And he says a better understanding, I don't know if he used the word better, but a different understanding is that knowing that the ocean will disappear. And I don't know what that means, but I kind of, certainly there are, that does tell you about the fact that there's degrees to these understandings. You can see a thought rises, anger, I've been angry, and then the anger has ceased. But also, I'm alive, and that will cease. And I haven't seen it, but it will definitely happen. And shared the analogy about the ocean disappearing. That's good.
Okay, Andre, anything else?
Well, I'm not sure I am quite capable right now to express myself comprehensively. So maybe at another time. But thank you for your answer. I appreciate it. I appreciate
Yeah.
it a lot.
Yeah, and I don't know. I mean, I'm not a very highly attained person, so I can't. I can only speak from my own experience. But the practice of detachment is, and living through detachment, and through using the power of detachment rather than using the power of a business person, is not really about spiritual attainments, and I'm not saying that this is what you're saying, because I also couldn't fully grasp what you wanted to convey. So maybe we can follow up, but it's to it's to eat the shit, right? I mean, it's to breathe dust. It's to experience being destitute and sick, and to embrace suffering, and through that embracing of suffering, to realize the emptiness of all phenomena, mental or physical, so that you are natural to detach from giving importance to mental or physical phenomena as being, particular entities. And over time, this becomes not just a perspective that you have, or like a choice that you're making, but it's a dissolution. It's a dissolving of that reactivity, right? And in that way, people who go really far in that, they have a very different experience that's not actually about their attainment or their state that they reached, although those can be, from what I understand, those can be very supportive and beneficial to developing this, but it's a freedom from the created truth. It can still be used. It can still be understood, but it's a freedom from it. Just in the same way that our bodies are able to exist, but they are free of impermanence, or they are free of permanence. There's nothing permanent in this body that's contained in this body. And so too, there's nothing permanent that is in a mental or physical phenomena.
Right. Well, I think maybe what I was trying to say is that what you just described, to me seems like, well, another mode of being, like all the others, that, even if it doesn't seem like that, contains within it a point of view. And I'm not quite sure why it is the truth, more than anything else.
Well, it's like it's the Zen saying, right? Don't confuse the finger pointing at the moon for the moon. Right? Don't confuse
I never really understood that, I think.
Yeah, don't confuse the notion of impermanence as being true as the notion of impermanence being true. Right? We're pointing to like the decay of the body when we say impermanence. It doesn't depend on any particular quality of mind or quality of body. It doesn't matter if it's a mountain or a snowflake.
What if you don't have a body?
That's also impermanent. And from the view of the sky, right, there's that song, Plum Village song, the mind is a clear blue sky. Clouds come, clouds go, but the mind is a clear blue sky. Even that state or that experience from the perspective of the clear blue sky is just another cloud coming and going.
I have a question about that specifically, I believe.
Okay.
What do you think can be said about the nature of the relationship in between, specifically the depths and eternity that encompass the sky's void?
Happiness is here and now. I have dropped my worries. Nowhere to go, nothing to do. No longer in a hurry. Happiness is here and now. I have dropped my worries. Somewhere to go, something to do. But I don't need to hurry. The truth is contained in a flower. Whether you call it a flower or not, doesn't matter too much. Don't take yourself or your position or your understanding too seriously. Try to be sincere and open-minded, but ultimately we're all human beings and we're all beginners here in most all ways. So be open to letting go and be careful when you notice yourself to grasp or to get tight around a particular view or subject or way of diving into it. Buddhism and the teachings that were presented today by Sayadaw, Ottamathara, my teacher, these teachings are coming from a place of contemplation and investigation. And if you want to know about them, you have to be willing to participate in self-inquiry, in investigation, in contemplation, in meditation. And to do that, you need to be willing to detach and to let go of your preconceived notion, your biases. It's more, for me, it's more of a questioning. It's not to adopt this view or that view. The created truth and the original truth of impermanence, ever new impermanent nature. These, for me, are guidelines for investigating our direct experience. And for me, they feel to be very workable guidelines. But if you grasp onto them, then you will be stuck in a place of grasping. And you'll just tire yourself out, one way or another.
I feel that I am. That is to say, not able to let go of certain things within myself, and I don't know exactly how to try, but I want to.
Yeah. So that's good. That's really insightful, and that's great. And you can try to follow and try to participate, try to be a part of this community, try to get involved. Right? That's what you can do. That's what we can offer. There's a lot of resources available. So I feel invited. But this detachment and this letting go is also described as to experience only, to breathe only, to walk only, to take a sip of water only. And in that moment, you've let go of all the baggage and all the extra stuff. You've touched freedom, you've tasted freedom just in a moment of present moment awareness, right? To experience only, without any judgment, without any need or reliance upon complicated self-fixated thinking. You know, there's so few situations where complicated self-fixated thinking is practical or useful. And yet a lot of people fall into this trap of that being their main modality of existing and being in the world. But just there's so few situations where complicated self-fixated thinking and grasping or trying to grasp is practical or useful. So if you know if you know you have that tendency and it's causing you to suffer, breathe deep. Be aware. Just in that moment, you can experience some freedom. And Andre, as for these views, because I have a predisposition to kind of emphasizing no view and this great doubt, this great questioning. And I think that can be very vital and alive and lovely if practiced in the right way, especially as a meditation. But the views that should be attached to or grasped onto are right views. And those are views that inform and enable us to suffer less, to be more base, to be more chill, to be more open-hearted, more wise, more free. And each one of us is going to have to find out what view and what perspective allows us to practice skillfully and which one doesn't. And the view that my teacher here is emphasizing is not someone, not some place, not some time. And that is a view of direct experiencing that is not relying on objectifying any particular aspect of the experience. Now, is that ultimately true? Well, it's ultimately impermanent. But I think all of these teachings put us into a very human position and a contemplative, introspective position, and we should try to work with that as deeply as we can. And even in that term of the created truth, truth is there. right? It's not created nonsense, it's created truth. And we have a question over on YouTube from Hata. How do I calm myself down if I feel anxiety and it doesn't go away? Relax and give yourself kind attention. And don't take yourself or the situation so seriously. Why do we need to be so serious? We've got plenty of food, most of us. We've got good friends on the path. We don't want to hurt ourselves. We don't want to hurt anyone else. We're in a somewhat safe place. What's there to be so serious and morbid about? Be gentle and open and flexible and curious about this real capacity you have to feel that anxiety and not panic, to be your own caretaker. That energy of the mother holding their newborn child. Whether you're right or you're wrong, or you win the race or you lose it, the mother just loves, just cares. And we forget about that too often. Or the parent, that parental mind, that caretaker mind. Whether you're good or bad, you're the worst, you're the best, doesn't matter. Just love, just to tend to, just to care for. And if we bring up that mindset, there are many, many aspects of our present moment experience, conditions that are already here right now, that can be sources of joy and safety and peace. Okay, let's finish together with 3 sadhus. And as we say sadhu together, we can bring up this mindset of just to appreciate the wholesomeness of our practice, why we practice, and that is to wake up, that is to be free, and also to help other people to be free and to wake up. And we can rejoice in our merits, the good effects from these good deeds, and offer those merits not just to ourselves, but also outward towards all beings in all directions. Okay, welcome to chant sadhu together with me. Sadhu. Sadhu. Okay, dear friends, thank you all for being here. Be happy, be peaceful, enjoy your day. And 8 p.m. tonight, it's about 10 hours from now, we will have our Buddhist book club. And Ellie, if you're free, that'll be a great time to join in and get some more wisdom. Okay?
I will try. Thank you for the song.
Yeah, you're welcome. Bye, everybody.